Hello and welcome to the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup, round number 9 from Zonhoven in Belgium. We have just had the most stupendous women's race. If you haven't watched it, why not? What have you been doing? It was brilliant. Do make sure you give it a watch. The men's race is coming up though, and if it's half as good as the women's, we're in for an absolute spellblindingly brilliant race. The coil, the pit has not disappointed on the way in. Those people who aren't aware, snow has fallen all the way across northern Europe across the last few days, and it does mean that as we come into round number 9, after the fast, super quick then demander, we are now moving into the territory of big descents on sand, and we're moving into frozen race route. Now, big news is Laurens Fiek not continuing his race season. Neither is Wout van Aert. Both riders are coming down crashing and are injured. Both are having to end their seasons. Laurens Fiek will be advocating the top spot in the series standing, so we do wish both riders, in fact all riders who have taken a tumble or suffering at the end of the curse period, well, and that they get some recovery done soon. The crowds here though are going to be treated to a very entertaining race. As you've seen, there were only 2 race winners so far. We've had 9 riders on the podium so far this season, and it does mean that we're going to have a very interesting race.
Snow cross in Mol.
I hope so. Yesterday I had a rest day and it was necessary because the cold shock we had on Friday was intense.
Do you look forward to this one on the snow? Different kind of snow, of course.
Yeah, today it's more icy, like the snow is hard packed, it's slippery, you have to look where the ice is on the road. Compared to last Friday in Mol, we had like the loose snow, what we like to have with our snowboard or skis. But now it's more icy, like we have like they skiing in the World Cup.
Thank you very much. Tibor, do you like racing in the snow?
Well, I can't remember the last time I did, so yeah, it will be. It feels like a first time, so yeah, I'll see how it feels.
Because last year you did win here, so it suits you, the track.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I like racing in the sand, but yeah, some sectors got a little easier with there being like a frozen path. But then yeah, the Kuil is maybe a bit harder with how thick the sand is. So yeah, it's different than last year, but still a really cool course.
Wish you all the best, Tibor. Thank you. Tibor Nys, I can see it on your helmet. A lot of sand. You crashed during the wreck, and what happened?
Yeah, a bit too excited maybe, and the circumstances in the sand downhill are a bit different than we all know. The sand is way more heavy and way more difficult to cut through, and my front wheel just blocked and I went flying.
Will the weather conditions change the dynamics of the race?
I think so. I think you need a really good start and then try to find your own pace and don't make any mistakes.
Wish you all the best. Thank you. Mathieu van der Poel, talk us through the circumstances on this snowy track.
Yeah, it's snowy, but it's still quite okay to ride. Some slippery corners in the shadow, but the rest is quite okay.
How about the descent in the pit?
Yeah, the sand is a bit different than we are used to here. It makes it very difficult, especially when you make a mistake. It's almost impossible to correct it. So it's gonna be trying to be careful and not make mistakes in the sand.
Wish you all the best, Mathieu. Thank you.
So the sand making that, making the sand very much like concrete down there. We saw Thibaut Nys go over, take a faceful, cleaning his eye on the way round. No ill effects on the way in and through. The riders really having to get used to this. Thibaut de Grosso, of course, taking a win in the under-23 competition. The wins here. Mathieu van der Poel, 5 wins. His record equaling 5 wins here today. The most wins Sven Nys with 5, but Sven has 2 second places and 2 third places to Mathieu van der Poel's 5 wins and 1 second place. If Van der Poel can take the win, he'll be up on top. So the second place rider in the series, the man with the most to gain from the departure of Laurens Fiek. Thibaut Nys leading the riders down to the grid. No Leaders World Cup jersey on display, but we do have a Michael Van Tuinen rider in 3rd place in the series, standing chasing Thibaut Nys behind. Nace with 3 wins, 2 second places, 1 third place. Van Turenhout with 1 win and 1 third place. Matthew van der Poel, 4 wins out of 4 in the World Cup so far. It's been a long time since he hasn't taken a win. However, we see stranger things happen when the conditions change. Will it be Van der Poel's day to go into the lead and eclipse Ben Nace at the top of the standings here at Zonhoven in the Coil? Our next rider coming down to the line is going to be Niels van der Putte, a rider who's had a great race victory over the cursed period, really riding strongly. 3rd place, his best position, and his only podium in this season so far. Emil Verstringer, our next rider, making his way down to the line. A rider who has had some real variable form. 3rd place. His best place so far this season. Will he be able to go over the top of that position, maybe take a 2nd place? Tuna Ertz, a rider though who has been before on the top stop. We'll see whether Ertz can take away a win here today. He's going to be looking forward to today. And the next rider down, Mace Hendricks, looking for a best position in the World Cup. He's been inside the top 10. He's got an 8th place in round number 7. That was at Havre. Can he come to the 4? He's really on form. He's been riding strongly, really been impressing a lot of people. So our next rider to come down to the start is going to be the one and only Lars van der Haar. A 2nd place in the races so far this season. Lars van der Haar, definitely a rider to watch out in today's conditions because we know how skilled he is on a steep descent. But in terms of previous winners, only Tunets and Matthew van der Poel winning on this race route as an elite. We'll qualify that as an elite. The question is who is going to take away the title here today, taking away the King of Zonhoven. The riders readying themselves. A big race field down on the race start here today. That front row just making the way down. And riders to watch out. Thibaut de Grosso on a road to Joris Nieuwenhuis is there. He looks like he's recovered from his injuries. Philippe Orts has had some great riding, took 3rd place in the snow at Mol. Definitely want to watch Joran Verschuren. He took 3rd place in this race last year. He could also be another rider who could be right up there. Owen Sparfell on row 2, along with Tyler Clark, the national champion of Canada. Row 3, Stefano Viezzi could be one to watch, or Filippo Fontana. The 2 Italians both coming into some great form at the moment. Don't discount David Monu, who's on row 4. Row 6, Leo Bissio has shown some really good form racing up against the elites already. And Jacob Turner from New Zealand on row 7, definitely going to be looking to see what he can do here today. The riders doing their final preparations as we move in to a race start. The race route, long start straight here, 95 metres from the start to the finish, and then we go through and out onto the lap proper. It takes about 10 seconds to get down the start straight, and then we go out onto the course after having gone through that finishing line. A 3,200 metre course, 3.2k course. The first pit is some 950 metres from the grid. So you've got a long way to go if you have a problem on this start line, and we've seen some royal disastrous starts from riders. We've seen some big stacks on the start where riders have come to a jam halt. Of our top 3 here today, Lawrence Swink not continuing his season. The Sandman not in the sand at Zonhoven, leaving the door open for Thibaut Nace. Michael van Turenhout to fight it out for the lead. There are only 16 points between Thibaut Nace and Michael van Turenhout, and only 7 points between Michael van Turenhout and Matthew van der Poel. 40 points for the win, 30 for 2nd, 25 for 3rd, and then it's 1 point for every position lost thereafter. It's going to reward those who can take the win. It's time to go racing at Zonhoven. We wait for the green of go, and away we go here at round 9 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup of 2025-26. Matthew van der Poel looking to get out cleanly in front of Thibaut Nace. It's going to come together very quickly, but Van der Poel in the lead. But this is no guarantee on the descent. This section of track's got really slick. One fast race line, go off the race line where the ice is, where it's been compacted down, and you are in thick snow. You're in the ground that is slowly refreezing. It's only just above 0 degrees, and the power and the control required when you come off the main race line, absolutely brutal. It really is like slamming the ankles on. Thibaut dives on the inside. It almost T-bones the riders on the inside there. Makes up places, but gets pushed wide here. And you can just see today wanted to reclaim that place further back down. Looks like Matt Conway and Michael Boris are also having trouble. The two national champions a bit further back down that race field as the riders come around to enter the coil for the very first time. Down they go, Van der Poel down in a 1 early, makes his way down. He's got that position sorted. That's right up there in second. Nace in third at the moment. Van der Poel looking to keep the gap closed right down here for Stringer, then Van der Poel, then Van Aert, Nieuwenhuis, De Grosso, Van Toren out in there. Ort's getting all sorts of tangled up there. As the Joran Bashura goes up over the top on the outside. It's Thibaut Nace who's leading the charge behind the two race leaders. Mathieu van der Poel, world champion and continental European champion. Tuna Ertz, and Nace knows the problem here. Let them go, and the trouble starts very early indeed. So past pit number one, these riders should have these tyres sorted. They'll have all that experience that the women had out on course. That'll be fed back to the team, to the riders, to make sure they've got those right tyres on for the conditions. With the extra riding on course, a number of the women's riders having to change the tyres, but at the moment there's no change at the front. Mathieu van der Poel looking to take out everybody on lap one, looking to open the gap. Tunats is trying to go with him. Only two riders who've won this race before as elites are the two riders on the front of the race, with the gap back to Thibaut Nace, who was second here last year. We go down into the coil for the second descent, slightly different angle, slightly different slope. Van der Poel and Ertz down, and the exit here tricky as we see Thibaut Nace get it wrong. He goes off to the side, quick correction. It's going to allow to go past as well, I think. Sorry, the Stringer to go past as well as Van der Poel to go past him there. So all that work that needs to be done to close the gap down has gone in the blink of an eye. Riders then traverse around the edge, down into this 180-degree turn on the angle. You can see Van der Poel up at the top. Ertz goes, he's looking behind. Then it's for Stringer. Nace, followed then by Van der Poel. So this is a mistake from Nace. Manages to get that foot out to just stabilise himself. So with work to do, it just comes tracking around the turn in pursuit of Mathieu van der Poel. The gap at the moment, 7 seconds between our two leaders and the chasing group behind it. A last time check, and that's opening up with every pedal stroke. Van der Poel at the moment going around here like he's on rails. I have no idea how he's carrying so much speed. Really wide line actually taken around there. Very interesting. That extra speed just allows him to take that wide line to set up. Nace on the inside, just having to stop it. It's a turn after that little bump. So by going around wide line, you're doing this turning early, maybe just keeping a little bit more control as we come up towards what is effectively the high point of this section of course. It's mirrored just a little bit further over the hillside. Van der Poel down in one piece. We've seen him make mistakes on this before in previous years. Not to be today. On the front, opening up the throttle once again. That back wheel skipping over, you can see it throwing up the dust. This is normally sand. At the moment, it's like concrete on this run up here. It's not just packed out, it's been packed out, it's been frozen, it's been thawed and refrozen again overnight. And it's really making some really fast section behind. Big tangle though. Van der Haar and Hendricks coming together. Hendricks in the green, coming together with Lars van der Haar in that Belloise strip at the moment, just coming out of that, the better of those riders with Michael Van Toorn sandwiched in between. But the battles are further back. It's a fight behind our race leader. Van der Poel in 1, Ertz in 2, Stringer in 3, Nace in 4, Van der Poel in 5. We're going to take another look. Lars van der Haar goes down, and the bike goes away underneath him. Then it comes down onto the floor. Van Toorn out picks himself back up again, and they have to wait. Just no good way round there. That isn't going to involve getting really muddy and without getting a whole load of debris into those cleats. To Van der Poel from it's past pit number 2, the second of our pits, pit number 2, 2,500 metres, 2.5k into this race route. The first pit just under 1k from the race start, so almost a k&a-half from pit 1 to pit 2 on the way around this route in the new direction as Van der Poel slides the back wheel around. And it has been in the preceding races, these transition sections have been tricky. You can just see both wheels going away there from Toorn. Back went first, then the front. Nice wide line taken there by Emil Stringer, but he then puts his foot down on the exit of the turn. Van der Poel going round, probably got slicks on today again, on his way round there. This Van der Poel has probably the best balance of anybody. However, doesn't make it count. You can just see that slide, back wheel out, foot down to correct it. No panic on his way round it now. That's going down. The Stringer with the foot out, with the riders coming round to complete lap number 1. And ominously for the riders at the end of lap 1, the gap has already opened up. Matthew Van der Poel comes through. The time as he hits the line, 7:19. The lap time, well, it's a 7:11. Very significant for cycling fans. So at 7:11 lap time on the way round for Van der Poel. Ertz with 7:22, for Stringer 7:26, same as Nace. 7:27 for Van der Poel. Then comes round behind him. The time gap's ticking on the top 10, just about within 30 seconds of our race leader. But breaking into groups who are quickly trying to close those gaps back down again. Albert Sparfeld. They say watch out for Sparfeld. He's already made his way up there, nicely moving up through that front of the race group inside the top 20 in 19th place, just behind Stefano Vietti in 18th position. So the youngsters are moving up nicely. Well, Van der Poel down the descent and away. Before we see the rest of the riders coming in, it's going to be Toorn who's going to lead them in. Van der Poel, though, comes round, cheered on by the thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of fans here at the Coil. So Ertz with that slight gap, 4 seconds between Ertz and the chase from Stringer, Nace and Van der Poel. For the 7 seconds back to De Grosso in 6th place. 7th place, Nieuwenhuis, 26 seconds down on the race leader, but right on the heels of Del Grosso. Then Van Toorn already dropping back through this race field at the moment. 31 seconds down on the race leader. You can see he's here coming up this climb ahead of Mies Hendricks in the green behind him. Then it's going to be Kevin Kuhn, Lars van der Haar, then Spanish national champion Ortsbiener chased here up the climb of Van der Poel, Verschuren, Ron Hart et al. Chasing on behind, trying to get that bike down again, but nobody's closing the gap down for Van der Poel. Now at 12 seconds between our race leader and second place. Well, different helmets, same glasses for Thibaut Nace, who came down on that big sand descent in practice, picked himself back up again, shook himself off, picked up the sand out of his eyes. not looking the worst for Dale, though still slightly sketchy on his first descent, as we see Van Turen out now, starting to try and lose the rest of the riders behind. Long train of riders coming in through there. Wow, quick flick of the handlebars at the top to make sure that the bike followed the rut through, didn't get caught in there. Turn the wheel slightly sideways, catch the edge of a tyre. On the edge of the rut, and you're going to go flying over those handlebars. As even Mathieu van der Poel has to paddle his way over the top of the turn, coming out from the coil. Van der Poel on a different line, they're just diving down there, no problems at all. Makes up a position, overtakes Nace on that descent. Del Grosso's going to make contact here, surely onto the back wheel of Thibaut Nace. Behind Del Grosso, Joris Nunes, the Ridley Racing team. It looks like that recovery really is on track at the moment. He's just been suffering, but now certainly looking like he's coming back towards his best. Thibaut Del Grosso runs onto the heels of Thibaut Nace. So Thibaut Del Grosso, the Netherlands national champion at the moment, in what is sixth place, directly behind Thibaut Nace in fifth position, or chasing Mathieu van der Poel. At the moment, it's closing that gap down to 2 nets between Ert and the riders behind. It's definitely not the 2 seconds that goes on our screens. It's Van der Poel this time, eschews the wider line, goes to that slightly tight inside line. So Ertz in second, with Stringer in third, Van der Poel in fourth. And then it's going to be Nice in fifth, Del Grosso sixth position, just coming around this turn here. Ground just rutting, just cutting up that little bit more as Van der Poel goes into the real deep ruts. Good job, that's the left-hand turn. If that was a right-hand turn, I think he'd be ripping the rear mech off. It's that deep. Van der Poel out of the saddle. Looks like he's on track, but plenty of distance still to go. This is lap 2 at the moment. First lap time, a 7:11 from Van der Poel. 11 seconds faster than 2 nets, the next fastest rider to him around the circuit that time. Michael Van Turen out looking to try and close down the riders in front. He knows that he's in third place with the leader in the series, Lawrence Fick, not taking part. His season has ended, and because of that, Van Turen and Nice, the riders in the best position to profit from this, but they're all going to be giving ground here to Mathieu van der Poel. Van der Poel was 7 points behind Michael Van Turen, and was 23 points behind Thibaut Nace. Now it's 40 points for the win, 30 for second and 25 for third. So Thibaut Nace could, in theory, deprive Mathieu van der Poel of the series lead if Thibaut takes away second place here today. Get much further down, we'll let the computers do the adding up. Oh, bike wheel slide again as he comes down there, no change. Almost a facsimile copy of the run down there last time around, as we see Michael Van Turen really distancing the group behind him. So Mies Hendricks, after being on the wheels of Van Turen, now giving away about 8 seconds, if not 9 seconds, to that group, to Van Turen in front. This group, though, they need to be pushing on here. They don't want Michael Van Turen to get back. It's going to be critical for positions. As we come round to complete lap 2, you can just see this course cutting up with the last race of the day. It's the men's race. The temperature due to drop below freezing, pretty much at about, well, depends on which meteo, which weather forecast you believe, about 3:30 to 4 o'clock. It's due to go back below freezing again, with the wind chill much colder. Lap 2 complete. Next lap, a turn for Mathieu van der Poel. His first lap, a 7:11. His second full lap, that is a 7:23 of that time around. A long look over the shoulder there by Toon-Aerts in the white jersey with the stars on there as the European champion. As the Trailing Corridor rider, Emil Verstringen now comes to the fore. His teammates still working hard in this group behind here. Just trying to close down on the wheel of Joris Nieuwenhuis at the moment. Joran Bashura, a run who took third place here last year, leading that big group coming through with Kevin Beos, Kim Roja and Lars van der Haan for company. The power and control of the world champion on his way through here, evident to all of the fans out and around the population. As I've said earlier today, 21,000 the population of Zonhoven, and I can't imagine it's far off that down in Decoil. A couple of years ago the crowd was 16,000. I'm sure there's more people there today than there was that year. It is even more packed all the way around this course, as we see forced out on that descent. A little bit of a mistake having to be corrected there by Emil Verstringen. Looks like he's got away with it. He's dropped him down the places behind Thibaut Nys. As the best descender, Thibaut Del Grosso really makes the most of that descent. Douglas starting to open a little bit of a gap on Toon-Aerts. Gap opening to Thibaut Nys behind. Then it's Verstringen. Verstringen wasn't that gap in between them as he came in, but that error on that descent costing him dear. The Heinen Van der Poel with a little bit of a gap opened up. Van Toorn not able to make contact so quick here today because it's so compacted down the mud. Really just doesn't seem to exist. You've either got ice, or you've got that snow, and then you've got the big standstill where it actually has cut through. But they're few and far between out there. Still slippery, still greasy, still possible to make a mistake. Still some really hard ice sections where we're seeing the ride drifting the way down. Van der Poel, no stopping, he goes wide on the entrance. Second entrance into the coil on this lap 3 of an 8-lap race. Well, a bit of a change from the 12-lap race we saw at Dendermonde, where the riders were coming through so quickly. This time around, 8 laps for the elite men's. It would be almost I think the rest of the referees, this guy get the race through as staying on to out as they can. Del Grosso almost like corrections of the way down there. Van der Poel looking smooth on that descent, but Del Grosso really accelerating up here. Starting to push onwards, Del Grosso. Definitely a rider who's going to be looking to take away a win in an elite World Cup this season. He's got a third, he's got a second in the last 2 rounds at Havre and Dendermonde respectively, but a very different beast here. The monument of cyclo-cross that is Zonhoven. And there's a lot can happen on what is still to come. A little bobble of the bike on the way in, but drives around that corner smoothly done there and very quickly back up on the pedals. Van der Poel able to put that power down behind him. Del Grosso continuing to push, and Toon-Aerts now being overtaken as Thibaut Nys starts to wind this up. Del Grosso no down, and he's right in the way. Nys has to slam the brakes on, and well, if you're going to come off right, of everybody else where they can't get past you. A real roadblock there, this time by Del Grosso's bike and body being in the way of Tabo Nice. It's closed the gap right now. And it's meant that this group has come back together again. Any advantage that Del Grosso had has pretty much been eliminated. He just has the advantage of being the first to kick clear from that corner. Just trying to knock that brake lever bike straight. So left-hand shift. They're just in more of an angle than intended. Oh, damn, he went. That front wheel slid out, and then he's tangled with the bike, and he's right on the race route. Not what you want to happen, and you can see just having to knock that brake lever back across. And it's a real balancing act. When you turn on the brake levers, if you do them up too tight, when you hit them hard enough, that you basically crack the housing because it's plastic and it'll shatter. Well, you break the bars, but if you do them too loose, then they move too easily, and they move when you pull on them. So it's getting that balance right. And quite often means that there's just enough movement if you hit them hard, but you knock them back. But you can see that's going to be a bike change. That left-hand lever, Del Grosso just in a little bit more. Definitely won't fit with the minimum restrictions for width, but I think some latitude will be given for the fact that it's a crash damage. It's not intentional. Nobody wants to ride with one lever in a little bit further. The bike handed across to Thibaut de Grosso, back onto a new machine. The mechanics will be hard at work to make sure that bike is up and running. All the riders with at least 3 machines, one on the course, one that's waiting, and one in the wash or with the mechanics. Many of the riders with more than that as well. Multiple wheels and tyre options as well. You can see why those mechanics are just so important. Very different lines around this turn. Two nets tight on the inside, holding that together. The rest of the road's pretty much going wide on that corner as we see Mathieu van der Poel come around. He's going to come through to complete lap 3. There's 5 more laps left to go. A 7:11, a 7:23, a 7:22 that time. Mathieu van der Poel is back to his metronomic best. You can see those lap times on your screen. Little dab around that turn for the stringer there, just to push himself back up again. And the issues, the problems with these riders in front, just tangling with Del Grosso going down, then having problems on the descent. All those issues, it's allowed Michael Van Torenhout to come back in. And in terms of the overall story of the World Cup, this really is going to maybe put a little bit of a plot twist in, because once we saw Van Torenhout going out the back, you could potentially have thought, well, it's going to really drop him down. But Michael Van Torenhout has this ability to come back during the race. It's almost like if you divided the race in quarters, he's okay on the first quarter. He kind of has a bad patch on the second, but then third and fourth, he's like a different rider. He just gets back and pulls those gaps back down time and time again. No, pulling back Van der Poel on the descent though. Smoothly down, he's up onto this bridge, turns him around this 90-degree corner. As the riders on their way down. Behind him, they're making the way in towards that descent. Van der Poel already off running as he makes his way up. He's heading towards pit number 1. He's probably not going to take a bike. At the moment, those rainbow stripes adorning the shoulders and the bike of Mathieu van der Poel. The rest of these riders would dearly love them as they come down. This time looks like pretty much everybody down. Michael Van Torenhout doing the same, just really starting to ride that bit of course in. Early dismount there, planned dismount for Thibaut Nice. Del Grosso charges up behind him, and then he's forced to dismount, makes a mistake, has to grab the fences, the barriers at the side of the course there. Cost him a little bit of time, it's only a second or two, but that's extra energy to get back on again, to use up. Van der Poel round now, we're going to see a bike change. We are on the way through. So Van der Poel's gap 38 seconds at the last time check to the chasers behind. That means plenty of time to come in and change back. Even if they don't, he's got enough margin to come in, stop for an espresso and head back out again. Van der Putten now being caught by Van Torenhout. The gap between Van der Putten and Toenaerts. It's going to be a gel for Van der Putten. The road is dropping in gels. The official drop zone could either be the race line or the pit line, but he's got to be adjacent to the pit boxes for any of the gel drops for the rapid afterward. Another error by Nace, just at the top there, gets away with it this time around. They'll also takes that one line. All this is giving that chance for Van Torenhout to make contact with the back of the group, but these riders all separated out on the way around. Some serious power being put down, but now rideable on the exit. The second descent each lap into the coil. A rideable exit. As Nace now looking to close back down, looking to break clear from this group, maybe close that gap down to Van der Poel just a little bit. He wants to take away the series lead at the end of this. The question will be, what can he do about Van Torenhout? He's the nearest rider, basically. There's 16 points between Van Torenhout and Nace. Nace just needs to finish in front of Van Torenhout. However, Michael Van Torenhout needs to take away a second place, because he's not likely to get the win with Nace in fourth or lower for him to go over the top of Thibaut Nace. Van der Poel, well, he needs a few riders between him and Thibaut Nace if he's going to take away the race lead here today, even with the win, just because of the way the point distribution goes from first place down to 25th. So Van der Poel clean in this section, heading out with loads of power as we start to see the pressure that's being put on by Thibaut Nace, pulling clear Thibaut de Grosso, along with Emil Verstringer Toenaerts. At the moment, the rider that's unable to answer this charge a little bit further up through the race field. Van der Putten is on the heels of Toenaerts here, and then it's Michael Van Torenhout who's going to make contact. So 2 clear of 3 at the moment. Sorry, 3 clear from 3. These are the leading 3 riders in pursuit of Mathieu van der Poel. A little behind there, Thibaut Nace, see what damage he's doing. So trip into the pit for Thibaut de Grosso. Back out once again. Toenaerts a shake of the head there. I'm not sure whether that was for the speed of the change or whether he's picked the bike up and thought, not the tyre choice I wanted on the way out. Didn't see that he actually had a bunch of Van der Poel locks that back wheel up even earlier that time round on that descent. Even the world champion finding it sketchy as he comes round towards the end of lap 4 of 8 here today at Zonhoven. So Mathieu van der Poel, a 7:11, 7:23, a 7:22. He comes through this time around and takes it as we've got big problems. Thibaut Nace has gone off the course. The bike handlebar is smashed to pieces here Now that was a big crash for Thibaut Nice. He looks okay to me. It's just the bike with that damage. You can see it's just that hydraulic brake hose that's holding the brake on the side. He's going to pick it back up again. He's got a long way to go down in towards the pit area to change that bike. That has done some serious damage to Thibaut Nice's title challenge here today. Came in second place, and that is going to be big problems for him. He's going to have to try and nurse that bike back. He's got a descent of the coil to do with the bike, with one under the handlebar in pieces, and he might be one of the best in the world, but even that does not stop it being a challenge on the way down. Shake of the head, he just lifted the bars. The pit crew will have been taking a little bit of a look. He comes down here now, loses it to the left, into the post, over the post, and the bar comes apart. He ejects himself from the bike. The bike's going to come back over again. Just misses Thibaut de Grosse there, goes down, but you can see the impact and the damage it has done as the bar hit the post. Thank goodness it's the bar and the bike and not the wrist or the arm. Lucky escape there. The bike, most of the riders have found that the bike's gone off to their left, gone underneath them. It's allowed them to go around that turn. That time around, the bike going the wrong way, losing the wheels on the right-hand side, tipping him into the post. So, Van der Poel in 1, Del Grosso in 2, Verstringer in 3, Van der Poel in 4, Van Torenau in 5, S, then Hendricks, Ronhaar, Orts, Nieuwenhuis, Kuhn, Michels, and then at the moment Nace is in 13th place, and I don't think he's going to even hold that for very much longer. 14th, 15th place now, I think that I make him. On the way through, 13th according to the ticket, he's been passed by 2 riders, I'm sure. Now goes through Boros, through goes Ryan Camp. It looks like Bashir going through, and I think that is going to be Filippo Fontana, potentially behind a Gerben Coast. Going to take a little bit of a look there. It is Filippo Fontana who's gone past the Nace as well, so I think Nace now at 18th position. He's going to have to run down here with one side of the handlebar missing. Well, Thibaut Nice is going to win the hearts of the crowd, running his way through, and whatever he does in this race, he's going to really inspire people. However, that's a big ask to come back. We've seen Michael Van Torenau, though, pick himself up from being the last rider on the course, and Denimont to being inside the top 10, battling out for key points. But we are into the last half of the race. We're on lap 5 of 8 at the moment. Van der Poel, tangles so far on the way round and down. The gap between him and the rest of the race field, 31 seconds at the moment. He's got his split plus seconds that he generally wants now into that 30-second bracket. He knows he's got a secure lead. The world champion puts that bike on the shoulder, sprints back up here. All of this, of course, training for the World Championships in Hulst, the end of January, 1st of February. And on that Sunday, the last race of the championships, we'll see Mathieu Van der Poel looking to go ahead and to take a record win in terms of Elite Benz wins. Rumoured to be stopping cyclocross. After that, if he does take the win, never say never for a comeback from Mathieu Van der Poel, even if he does take a bit of time off to focus on other targets. So Nace into the pit, 21st place on our screens at the moment. We'll get a time check as he comes back out again. I make it 2 minutes and 4 down on the race lead. He had about 30 seconds lost, so he's lost about 1 minute 40 at the moment for losing half a handlebar. It shows you in the blink of an eye, you could be in contention for a podium, or you could be running for 21st, 22nd place out on the race. So it's going to be ahead of Gerben Kuipers, David Manu and Arben Spartel, with the top 25 rounded out by Gus van den Eyden. The second and third place, Del Grosso in the red, white and blue of the Netherlands champion. Emil Verstringer, a Belgian rider in the green of the Creelan Corridor, on the descent down here round this left-hand turn. So Emil Verstringer started the day in 6th position in the series standings. Thibaut de Grosso started the day in 10th. He moved from 14th up into 10th place, a gain of 6 places in the last round in Dendermonde. Wout van Aert had actually moved up the most. He moved up 6 places at Dendermonde, but then that slide out, big issues, a broken ankle, which he's had surgery for, and we wish him heal fast, get him back riding as soon as we can. Which is a shame, to really, at that point, I'm almost thinking we had a Van Aert, Van der Poel tussle on our hands. It's looking now more and more sure that Mathieu van der Poel is going to be very difficult to challenge for the front of the race in any race he rides at. See how quickly Mathieu van der Poel into the saddle, then in it, gets out round the corner. Very quickly gets out and stamps down, gets so much power down, then sitting back down again. But out here doesn't want to make a mistake. Let's see him go from that post. That's where we saw that issue for Thibaut Nice as they went through Thibaut de Grosso and Emil Verstringer, the 2 riders chasing here. Oh, Thibaut de Grosso. He gets away with that. It might sound like Mickey Mouse for a few days, but gets away with it on that left-hand turn. They come around to complete lap 5. 3 more laps left to go in this 8-lap race. Van der Poel leading, Thibaut de Grosso throwing everything at this. The stringer behind him there. Able to break, not go over the top here, but there are slips and slides anyway. This corner's getting really treacherous. Oh, Felipe Orts down the front wheel, slid and then it went one, and down he came. Really different line here. Look at Van der Poel. He comes down, he doesn't take the white line, different turn. Now no problems at all as they go through 32 seconds deficit. Yeah, the 2 riders in 2nd and 3rd place to our race leader, who just paddles his way around that right-hand turn, then into the left. So 4th, 5th and 6th positions at the moment, Van Turenhout, Van der Poel and Eds. That long ago they were challenged for that 2nd place, but that gap really has opened out now. 50 seconds to the race leader and 20 seconds the 2nd and 3rd place for that Van Turenhout, Van der Poel and Eds group. Nieuwenhuis goes through. Ronhaar glues his wheel. Ronhaar coming back up towards where we would expect him to be. Then Hendricks and Orts really having to still brushing all the dirt and the debris off him from that slide out. So Van der Poel already having exited the coil of the pit. As down in comes De Grosso and Verstringer. This is looking slightly more comfortable with the 2 on that descent. And as they leave the coil, the next group of runners come in. 1 rider in front, chased by 2 riders, chased by 3. Mistake by Verstringer here. Del Grosso will hear the shout here. He'll know that there's been a little bit of an issue. He'll have heard Verstringer unclip. Every time you unlock those pedals, you hear that click. It's really distinctive. And all of the riders know exactly what that means. It means that if you've stayed in them and your competition is unclipped, they're not getting the pattern on them. They've taken control. And it means you've got a chance to open up a gap. De Grosso, you watch him come around here, stays in. Verstringer comes around, and then the bike just tips not to the left, to the right. He puts his right foot out, loses momentum, has to jump off the bike. And that is costing him time. He's got to make his way back up to Thibaut de Grosso. De Grosso at the moment in 2nd place, not had it all his own way by any stretch of the imagination. At the moment, that gap to his favour. Interestingly, De Grosso, the only rider to go faster than Mathieu van der Poel on any of those laps, but doesn't hold the fastest lap, but did take the fastest lap on one lap. But he came in and through. So lap 5, the fastest lap by Thibaut de Grosso, 7:26. Van der Poel's lap 7:11, 7:23, 7:22. Then a 7:44 when he changed by 7:24.
We weten dat het niet wordt, maar de reporter Grosso reed het zijn niet tot boven. We verwachten op zijn minst hetzelfde. Timo Reis, nog altijd aan koers. Go Timo!
Now De Grosso dives down. The gap there to Verstringen. Verstringen just a little bit more wavery through that section. The sense suiting Del Grosso. Smoothly round there. Del Grosso's riding that. Van der Poel did not ride that. He had to put his foot down twice. The stringer puts his foot down once. Del Grosso riding that a little bit more comfortably that time round. Del Grosso 30 seconds down on Van der Poel at the moment. This chasing group of 3, they're 55 seconds down on Van der Poel. So they're giving away some 25 seconds or so to the 2 riders in front to those podium positions. But the battle for points absolutely intense here at the moment as these riders make their way in through. Van der Poel in the driving seat, looking to take away a full 40 points from here. He knew that that series lead was up for grabs. Thibaut de Grosso, he's too far down those standings. The brother Van der Poel, Verstringen is as well. Toon Aerts is going to score points, but Aerts in 7th place behind him, Van der Poel. It really was all about Walker van Torenhout and Neesto Sven. Nees, of course, the record holder here for the number of wins. Son Thibaut Nees on the chase back after issues. 18th position still at the moment on our last time check. 2:29 down on our race leader. They're just ahead of Manu, Kuipers, Bizio, Sparfel, Van der Bosch, Viesi and Leilandi, who Remy Leilandi rounding out the top 25 at the moment. Thibaut de Grosso just a little bit of an overbounce to the right, quickly gets hold of the fences of the barriers. Verstringen does the same to make sure he can get that power down now. Moved by Michael van Torenhout, just wanting to come around here. He's got the power down, he's taking that alternative line. It means he's going to come into this descent first ahead. No, but Toon Aerts. Van der Poel heading out and away from the pit once again. You can see a number of runners coming across the street at the moment who have not finished this race here today. No surprise to see quite a number of riders in there. The riders not taking to a race start as well. We're on lap 6 of 8, at round 9 of the 12 rounds of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. The next round in 2 weeks' time in Benidorm in Spain. Very different conditions there expected. Then we have our double-header weekend on the 24th and 25th of January. Maas Mechelen on the Saturday, Hoge Heide on the Sunday, and then the following weekend, whilst the World Cup might be wrapped up, it'll be that battle for rainbow as team relay, the women's and men's juniors, under 23 and elite competitions coming from Hulst in the Netherlands. A fantastic cross venue, a real course with a little bit of everything on there, a really tricky descent, the moat to avoid going in for a swim, as well as a big run up, some really tricky camber sections, some fast sections as well. Would you bet against this man? Mathieu van der Poel coming through. Is lap number 6 complete. 2 more laps to go. Then Mathieu van der Poel has another 7:20, 7:23 to his 7:22, 7:24 and another 7:23.
De Spaanse kampioen, maar nu onze aandacht naar die strijd voor 2 en 3.
Now a little bit further down in Joris Nieuwenhuis, 7th position at the moment, and behind in 8th, Felipe Orts in 9th place. Giving a lot of ground though now into Thibaut de Grosso to Emil Verstringer, who comes in over the line in 3rd position. And you can see the gap, Van der Poel coming around these horseshoe turns for the transfer to the coil. You'll see chasers behind us making the way over the line. So there you go, consistency after lap number 1, only that 1 lap going outside of the 7:30. Big move by Turner. So I think there was are you coming through or what from Michael Van Turner, and Turner is like, well, I might come through, but I'm going to attack you on the way through. Next 3 riders got it down now. Matthew Van der Poel not able to make the top of that little bank that time around. And as we see, Joris Nieuwenhuis stretching his legs a little here ahead of Pim Roja. And then Felipe Orts all inside that top 10. Mies Hendricks should be the rider to round out the top 10, followed by Fischer, Van der Haan, Mikkels, Kamp and Boros. Van der Poel, smoothly done around those turns. Getting back around toward the bit, are we going to see another change of bike? Nope, not this time around. Happy with that bike as it stands at the moment. Poetry in motion from Van der Poel, and the man who's been touted as potentially being the next Van der Poel. Still managed between the 2 riders definitely there. As we see Nace go through 18th position to 37.6, holding time and holding position to our race leader, but not making any more ground up. The points running down to 25th place in the series standings. He'll still get 8 points for 18th place if he stays in that position to the end of the race, as the riders are out now on lap 7, 2 laps left as they hit the line. A lot less for Van der Poel. Oh, a little wiggle at the top, but never looking troubled on that descent. Now maybe the one place where we've seen other riders ride better than Van der Poel round this right-hand turn, but no problems for Van der Poel this time.
Hier in de wedstrijd de hoogte naar het podium, naar de kampen, met samen aan de finish naar voren.
Matthew Van der Poel looking just the same now as he did in the early stages of this race, coming clear on lap number 1. Has kept the race lead behind though. Done real slips from slides, and of course that big incident for Thibaut Nace really changing the shape of the front of the race. Thibaut de Grosso able to open the gap on Emil Verstringer. Just slightly better skills today, just coming to the fore for Thibaut Nace. Every time you see a little bit of an error, just a foot down there for Verstringer, it just allows that gap to increase by, it can only be tenths of a second, but they all add up over the course of an hour's racing here in Zonhoven in Limburg in Belgium. So the gap between our race leader in second place, 34 seconds between Thibaut de Grosso and Matthew Van der Poel. Van der Poel leading across the line as they start from the start. Overtaking on his way into corner 1, but then very quickly into his pace, up to speed, and then really just opening up the gap, doing what Matthew Van der Poel does best, riding it like it's not there. Everybody else, well, they have to follow her up. Matthew van der Poel, I think, just creates the rut in the first place. Absolute legend. Superb skills, superb power. Just that perfect mix that has resulted in win after win after win. At the moment of Matthew van der Poel on course to take away the record number of wins here in Zonhoven. A record he was previously equalled. Sven Nys of 5, it would be 6 when he comes to the line. If he can keep it together to the end of the final lap. Remember, this is the penultimate lap, lap 7 of 8 here today. No, that looks like a big intake of breath there. That looks like a well truly over the bars. There, big down. Yep, over the bars, onto the back. Not what you want to do. Deep breath or 10 there at the moment. That shows you how hard it is when Musson comes down and he takes his time to get back up again. This Musson, that Creelan Corridor squad on the floor. His teammate though, Emil Verstringer in 3rd place, chasing 2nd place. Pit group dancing to keep warm down there at the moment. It's -4 to -8 with the wind chill today. So very cold conditions, not just for the riders, but for the teams, for the mechanics, the soigneurs, for all of the support crew, for the riders, for our spectators as well, who are lining the side of the course all the way out and around this course. There are people all over the side of the heathland that characterises this side of the terrain. At the moment, well, it's Matthew van der Poel who's going to come around. He takes the bell. 1 more lap to go. 7 laps complete. It is the last lap, the last run for Matthew van der Poel in the race lead. His gap still holding well over 30 seconds. The last time check, 37 seconds to Del Grosso, 44 to Verstringer. These places looking a little bit more set in stone now. Thibaut de Grosso second last time out on the World Cup in Dendermonde. 3rd place at Havre, doing his overall series circumstances. No harm at all. Van der Poel though, this will be win by that 5. We can give it to this last lap. Clear at the front, down into this left-hand turn. He said earlier on it was about not making mistakes. Well, that's definitely the case now with the gap and with 1 more lap to go. 37 seconds back, Thibaut de Grosso, his teammate, and then it's 46 seconds with Emil Verstringer behind our race leader.
Kom op, hè, Mathieu. En nu tot boven, hè. Tot boven, hè. Kom op, Mathieu. Tot boven. Doe het. Doe het. Oh.
Well, the announcer there just encouraging Van der Poel to make it up that bank. See if he had the power to do so. Not that time around. We'll stay super focused on this last lap. So it looks like that battle between Hendricks and us has certainly opened up. Muson's going to go in. I'm not surprised after that land. So wish Mr. Musson well. Hopefully not done anything too serious on the way down. More shock and that instant pickup rather than damaged. Cracking a rib is so painful, not what you want to do. And a bike rider, but definitely one of the most painful things out there. Not the most painful, but definitely right up there. You know, when somebody is just so good at something, they make it look easy. Van der Poel is that sort of annoyingly so good. He's making it look easy, and it isn't. These are the world's best riders, slipping and sliding the way around this way through. Even Van der Poel has had his moments. As we take a look back, Nace goes through ahead of Gavin Kuipers, changing teams. And now a teammate of Michael Van Turenhout. Michael Van Turenhout in 6th place. Kuipers at the moment in 17th, 18th place. If I do my maths, 19th place in fact, because it came in through. Ahead of them, Koen, the head of these 3 riders. Ertz at the moment leading that chase behind our 3. Lisa Tunings in 4th. Then Niels van der Putte 5th and 6th place at the moment is Michael Van Turenhout.
Met een mooie veldbediening. Tafelbal. Laat je horen, twijfel even. Alles voor Timo.
Stringer chasing Del Grosso, chasing Van der Poel, but the gaps are opening out. 40 seconds now between Van der Poel and Del Grosso. Only 9 seconds between Del Grosso and Stringer, and then behind Stringer, Toon Ertz sitting some near 40 seconds down on the back wheel of Stringer. Ertz leading though these 3 riders, Koen Ertz, Niels van der Putte and Michael Van Turenhout in the order into this turn. And not a great turn for Michael Van Turenhout, dismounting on the dirt side on the right hand side, the drive chain side. It's also the lower side as you go around that turn, so further jump off, and that does make it a little bit tougher for him on that dismount, but a little bit easier on the remount. At the moment, the gap really opening up here, and Van Turenhout really needs to stay on those wheels. He wants to maximise his points here today, and he needs to be close to Thibaut de Grosso. He wants to be close to Toon Ertz. Well, it's a brave soul whipping it up today. We saw him pull potentially the whip of the season in Digo in the night race. If you get a chance to have a look, if you haven't seen it already, essentially imagine a 45-degree launch ramp, flat platform at the top, it's about 3 meters across, and then a 45-degree descent. Thibaut de Grosso whipped it up absolutely beautifully, looking across the bike, landed it, did that on the last lap after a real fantastic battle all race long. Absolute showman, doing the same here, whipping it up, throwing caution to the wind here. Well, Van der Poel looking very cool, calm and collected. He knows he's not got too much further to go now. Down into this left-hand turn. As we look at it coming across to our left, his right-hand side. Going around that U-turn there behind him. Stringer and Del Grosso in that battle for 2nd and 3rd places. Now Van der Poel now past the 80% cut-off point. He's got the drop down to do. He's got the tarmac to hit. It's going to be Mathieu Van der Poel who's going to come down here. The snow came. It challenged. Mathieu Van der Poel conquered. The world champion now, the record holder in terms of wins at Zonhoven. and now adds another win to his total. That is 5 wins from 5 for Mathieu van der Poel in the World Cup. He did it in style, raced clear from the front of the race and away. It's going to be a man who's touted as one of the bright stars of the future. He's shown he can mix it up with the elites. It's going to be another for the teammate. Man who at the last World Championships in Liban was cheering Mathieu van der Poel on from the sidelines from the under-23. Now he's up against him. Thibaut Del Grosso comes through. He takes second place here today. And that means that it is going to be 2 second places in a row for Thibaut Del Grosso with the third place at the round before. There's another podium coming through. Emil Verstringer comes through. He adds another third place to his tally this year. As behind the battle is on for points, it's on for places. Toon S along with Niels van der Putten. Van der Putten goes on the side, the foot comes out. That's Toon S job done. He's not going to compass Van der Putten in the sprint. Van der Putten takes the sprint from S. So Van der Poel in 1, Del Grosso in 2, Verstringer in 3, Van der Putten in 4, Toon S in 5. It has gone to the 5. Looks pretty much like it to me. That was going to be the order. Just outside the top 5, Michael van Torenhout comes through. The man who is immediately behind Thibaut Nace in the standings coming in. It's then going to be Joris Jurnhuis. He's had a relatively quiet ride running around in a similar position all race long. 7th place for him. It's going to be an 8th place for Felipe Orts before he heads down to Spain defending that title as national champion of Spain, and before we go to Benidorm for the next round of the World Cup. 9th place for a resurgent Pim Roja, stretches that back out. 10th place for Mies Hendricks here today, really showing that he's established himself within that top 10. And it's going to be an 11th place for Ryan Camp for that new Ecoy squad. Behind, big kick for the line here today. Great result after some early tangles on lap 1 for Mikael Boros. He comes through ahead of Filippo Fontana, and then Jenti Mikkels inside the top 15. Well, interesting. After last year, we saw Johan Verschuren take away 3rd place. He takes away a 15th here today. Lars van Haar not to be a podium in his final time of racing. That's Zonhoven. Lars van Haar on his last race season. Kevin Kuhn comes through for 17th place. It's going to be an 18th place for Gerben Kuipers, who just hits the line behind him. And it's going to be a 19th place here for Thibaut Nace. Well done, Thibaut Nace, salvaging some points here today. As the Belgian champion comes through after that broken handlebar. The big hit. He must be ruined, whoever invented wooden posts this season. He's hit his fair share for a lifetime in the cursed period this year. He's smiling now. Glad he can reflect on that. Nice comes through in 19th place. David Monu coming through for 20th place. I think it's going to be a 21st for Sparfo and Bissiou. 3 Frenchmen coming to the line together. But no doubting our race leaders. The crowds make the way from the court towards the podium stage for the ceremonies, and make the way down to the party tents. Time to get themselves refreshed, rehydrated, refueled. The party will continue long into the night here today, I'm sure.
Mathieu van der Poel, many congratulations. You started like a cannonball. Was that on purpose?
No, it was not a plan, but I just had a really good start, and then I wanted to do 1 hour my own thing, especially in these circumstances. And before going back to Spain, it was nice to just go 1 hour full gas.
Was there a kind of panic when you punctured twice? You had 2 flat tires.
Not really. I already had quite a big advantage. The only problem was I was really in a good flow, good rhythm, and it broke my rhythm a little bit. I lost some time, and also, it hurted the legs because it was quite a long stretch to ride on a flat tire. But I never really panicked because I felt I had a pretty good day today.
Well, if you're going to get 2 flats, do it on the snow. Do it where you want that grip. And today was the day. Nothing able to stop Van der Poel, taking away 6 wins here at Zonhoven. Very interesting to see what happens to our points totals when all of those positions are added up. It certainly made it much closer at the front with the loss of Lawrence Fiek and Mathieu van der Poel coming in through to take away the race win. Mathieu van der Poel heading down to Spain. Many of the riders going to be heading to their national championships. The training camp, so very close to our next round. That's going to be at Benidorm in Spain on the 18th of January. I hope you'll be joining me for that. My name's Mark Payne, bringing you all of the race action, bringing words to the action for the women's and men's races, right the way through to the end of the World Cup season and right the way through the World Championships as well. From the team relay right the way through to the men's elite race at the World Championships. Will we see Mathieu van der Poel pull on the rainbow bands once again? No stopping him. He went out like a cannonball, as our interviewer said, but definitely no way anyone was going to hang on to him once he was in flight. Issues for Nace at the top of the entry to De Coyle. Not incident free for Van der Poel on his way in and around. Plenty of slips and slides. Thibaut de Grosso, though, showing he was very sure-footed on his way around until he came into this right-hand turn, an area where we've seen very few problems for the riders. He's coming in a little bit too hot, sliding out, but fortunately able to hold everybody else up, stopping them coming round. And it was to be a bike change for de Grosso. No such look, a much bigger tangle for Thibaut Nace. After taking a tangle with the post and rope in Digham on the big sand descent, this time round it was on the ice that he went into the post and rope, into the netting, and this time round it was a broken handlebar. Nace having to run the full way round, including the descent of De Coyle, to make his way round. It did leave the way open, though, for Thibaut de Grosso and Emil Verstringer at the front of the race. Great riding by Verstringer, trying to hold de Grosso at bay. But Mathieu van der Poel, super smooth. De Grosso with enough time to whip it up. Confidence from the youngster. However, the apprentice could not match the master. Mathieu van der Poel taking away the race win here today, taking away his 5th win in the World Cup season. Out of the race, he's ridden. Thibaut de Grosso has another 2nd place, he's 2nd and 3rd already, and it's a 2nd, 3rd place, a step on the podium for Emil Verstringer. Imperious as ever, Van der Poel. He'll be heading to the warm 60 degrees down in Spain today, nice and warm. Be enjoying that as the training camp goes on. And interesting to see that he said that it hurt a bit when he was having to push on from those punches, but a full hour full gas was what he was after, and that's what he's certainly got here today. So the crowd's making the way from De Coyle, making the way around sites. If you get the chance, get yourself down to your local cyclo-cross, to your national cyclo-cross, maybe to your national championships that they're being held next weekend. The World Cup will be taking a break next weekend as riders contest those national championships. Most of those Northern Hemisphere nations with the championships this coming weekend. A number of riders, though, not going to the championships are making the way instead to training camps. You heard Mathieu van der Poel say that was his plan, and then going to be back in action a little bit later on in the season. Well, the rut's one truly gone as the crowds have made their way up the big sand ascents here in the big sand descents at De Coyle at Koppenberg. Van der Poel taking the win, a 2nd place, and a spot on that podium going to Thibaut de Grosso, his teammate at the Alpecin Premier Tech team. Emil Verstringer of Treeland Corridon rounding out the podium. De Grosso looking super secure, super control as he goes down those descents, and despite having to change the bike, 2nd place for Del Grosso, 3rd place for Emil Verstringer, maybe having the least eventful ride of anybody of the day today, and definitely key. Big smiles from him as he came in and across line to take 3rd place. So as the sun starts to set at Zonhoven, the crowd's enjoying the snow. I hope you've enjoyed the racing here today. Our podium ceremonies will be coming up along with a recap of our results for the top 20 and for our series standings as we leave here in Zonhoven. Don't forget you can catch up with all of the standings, all the results on the UCI webpage. That's www.uci.org. Go to cyclocross as the discipline. What else could it be in these weather conditions? And then head across through to the race up for live standings, as well as the updates to the positions for all the riders, for all their race standings, the race results, the lap split times, the fastest lap times. Fastest lap today going to Matthew van der Poel, line to line, a 7:11. Lap number 1, his fastest lap time
Many congratulations with another podium spot. What is the story of your race?
Oh, it was a hard one for me today. Immediately in the beginning, I felt I didn't have the best legs today, so I had to race smart. But yeah, in the end, to be on the podium again, I'm really satisfied with that.
Did you think one moment I can grab the second place?
I had the feeling Tibor was a bit stronger, especially on the technical parts. So yeah, third place was the highest possible today.
Well, a very honest assessment there by Emil Vistringer of what his chances were of taking that second place, and very happy with the podium. Takes away third place. As to his points tally, it'll move him up through those series standings, going to add to the points scored previously, and that will give us our tables when we get to the end of the day. The standings being computed pretty much as we speak in terms of the overall. Well, as we wait for the standings, you can see this amazing sunset here today. The cold weather due to continue for another couple of days across the north of Europe, but then we're going to get the rain come in, the weather will change. However, the riders will be heading off once they've completed National Championships. They're doing it down to Benidorm. Don't forget, after that, it's our double header, the second of the double headers. We had Antwerp and Kokside on the 20th and 21st of December. We're doing a double header with Maas Mechelen on the Alp mine site before we head across to Hogeheide. That's the 24th and 25th of January. Please do make sure you join us for the conclusion of the World Cup. Both the women's and the men's races continuing through Benidorm, Maas Mechelen and Hogeheide in that run-up through the Hulst World Championships. We will crown the UCI World Champion in the men's and women's junior, under 23 and elite, as well as our team relay champions. Team relay, one of my favourite events where the nations really can show their strength across all of the race categories. A really great atmosphere.
Second in this race after a bad start. What is the story of your race?
Yeah, my start wasn't great, and also I needed some time to get into it physically. So. But then, yeah, I started going quite well, and I managed to ride away from the group, and then that crash was a bit stupid, and I had one more flat tire the lap after, so yeah, not ideal, but then luckily after that I could find a good rhythm.
So plenty of flat tyres out there. The riders running those tyres are already starting to get that grip on the ice, on the sand as they come down through, but when the loose sand then makes it a little bit more difficult. Plenty of edges of concrete to catch out the unwary, plenty of rocks coming through on this old military training ground down into the coil, into the pit. Well, plenty of future riders hopefully taking a quick check out of the course. Are we seeing a future Lucid Ranoff, a future Sanakat holding the record on this course? Getting the practice in for when you have the bike in on the shoulder there. And great to see the kids enjoying the racing here today. Here are your confirmed top 10 results with Matthew van der Poel taking the race win. The aim is to get it close to an hour, 59 minutes, 36 seconds the time for Matthew van der Poel. And as you can see, only Thibaut de Grosso within a minute of the race leader. Top 20 rounded out by David Menu, who comes through to take 20th spot directly behind Thibaut Nace, who finishes in 19th place and takes 7 points away from the race here today. And those 7 points are going to be key here, as you can see. Matthew van der Poel taking the series race lead courtesy of the win. Thibau Nys taking second place, holding that second place as Van der Poel goes above and Sweet drops down below. Van Turenhout holding on to third place. Behind all change, don't forget you can catch up with those full results. Though the overall standings, Van der Poel in 1, Nys in 2, Van Turenhout in 3, Speak in 4, Van der Poel in 5, Verstappen in 6, X in 7, Del Grosso up to 8th, Hendricks down to 9th, and Nieuwenhuis up inside the top 10 with his ride. This time to get our top 3 on stage for the ceremony here at Zonhoven in Belgium, round 9 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup.
Dames en heren, mag ik uw aandacht voor de officiële huldigingsplechtigheid na afloop van deze marge van de UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup vandaag verreden hier in Zonhoven. May we have your attention please for the official award ceremony after this round of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup organized today in Zonhoven. Het zijn de burgemeester en de schipper van sport die zometeen de honneurs gaan waarnemen, die de bloemen gaan overhandigen en die ook de leiderstrui gaan uitreiken. Dames en heren, eerst en vooral op een derde plaats met uw daverend applaus voor Emil Verstringen.
Great ride by Emil Verstringen. Great to see him back up on the podium once again. He's showing that he's got that engine it takes to go, to power his way around, and the skills to keep it relatively rough side down on the course here today. Well, he's moved from the under 23 wins to a second place on the podium here at the elite race, and only to the man who he was looking to emulate.
Vandaag heer en meester van start tot finish. Aan het commando de winnaar van de wedstrijd, de wereldkampioen. Uw applaus voor Mathieu van der Poel.
What can you say about Matthew van der Poel? That's not already been said. He led every single time across the line. He takes away the win. He takes away the lead in the Cyclo-cross World Cup Series as well. He takes a record win here in Zonhoven. He eclipses the record that he held jointly with Sven Nys, now with 6 wins here at Zonhoven. Van der Poel with the leader's jersey, the Alpecin Premier Tech rider, takes the race lead. He squeezes himself in to that leader's jersey. Your top 3 here today. Taking 3rd place, Emil Verstringen. Taking 2nd place, Thibaut Del Grosso. Taking the race win, the series lead, Matthew van der Poel takes away top spot on today's podium here today. Watched on by tens and tens of thousands of people here in what is the amphitheatre of cyclo-cross. A brilliant job done by our riders in keeping us entertained in the women's and the men's races here today. Thank you very much for joining me around today to watch the action unfold. An epic Zonhoven in the snow. It might be a while before we see that again, who knows. We're going to go from the snow of Zonhoven via national championships or training camps across towards our next round. That is going to be in Benidorm on the 18th of January. I hope you're going to get to the side of the cross between now and then. And if not, I hope you'll be joining us for Benidorm on that 18th of January for round 10 of the World Cup. Thank you so much for joining us here today from me, Matt Penn, from all of the team behind the scenes who do the hard work in the snow to bring you those pictures out there. Thank you very much to the team. I hope you've had a good Christmas, and this has been a great start to your new year on the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup.